Echoes of Valak, the haunted cathedral of despair. The Cathedral of Saint Germain stood at the edge of a desolate cliff, battered by relentless winds and cloaked in an eternal gray mist. Abandoned for decades, the once magnificent structure had fallen into ruin, its towering spires now jagged silhouettes against the somber sky. Local legends whispered of unholy presences lingering within its shadowed halls, the most feared of which was the demon Valak. Determined to uncover the truth behind the stories, Amelia, a young historian with a penchant for the supernatural, decided to investigate the cathedral. Armed with a flashlight, a notebook, and a recorder, she ventured into the foreboding structure one chilly evening. The cathedral's interior was a cavernous void, its stained glass windows shattered and its pews rotted into splinters. The air was thick with the scent of mildew and decay. Amelia's footsteps echoed ominously as she crossed the marble floor, her flashlight beam cutting through the darkness. Her recorder buzzed faintly as she whispered into it, documenting her surroundings. The legends speak of cries heard at midnight and shadows moving without source. No sign of anything unusual yet. As she approached the altar, a sudden chill enveloped her, more intense than the damp air around her. Her flashlight flickered, casting erratic beams across the space. From the corner of her eye, she noticed a faint figure cloaked in black, standing in the shadows near a broken pillar. "Who's there?" Amelia called, her voice steady despite the dread creeping into her heart. The figure didn't respond, but instead seemed to glide toward her, its movements unnatural and silent. As it emerged into the dim light, its pale face came into view, a visage both ghastly and hypnotic, with hollow eyes and an eerie, twisted smile. "Valak," Amelia whispered, the name slipping from her lips unbidden. The demon raised a skeletal hand, pointing directly at her. A deafening scream erupted in her ears, not from the demon but from within the walls themselves, as though the cathedral itself was alive and in pain. Amelia dropped her recorder and stumbled backward, her flashlight clattering to the ground. The shadows around her began to writhe, taking on distorted forms that reached out with clawed fingers. Whispers filled the air, a cacophony of despair and malice. The words were unintelligible but carried an undeniable weight of sorrow. Desperate to escape, Amelia turned and ran, navigating the labyrinth of crumbling hallways and debris-strewn aisles. The whispers followed her, growing louder and more insistent. When she reached the massive wooden doors, they refused to budge, sealed shut as though by an invisible force. Behind her, the sound of footsteps grew closer. She turned to see Valak standing mere feet away, its expression now one of malevolent glee. The whispers crescendoed into a roar as the demon raised both arms, the shadows coalescing into a swirling vortex around it. Amelia screamed as the darkness engulfed her. When the sun rose the next morning, the cathedral appeared as lifeless as ever. Amelia's recorder lay near the altar, its tape filled with static, punctuated by faint, haunting whispers. The villagers who dared approach the cliffs later swore they heard a voice crying for help, echoing endlessly through the mist.